Now it's filming. Okay.
Hi, my name is Krish Kresge, and I am the program chair for this year's Feldenkrais Conference. It's going to be July 8th to 13th in Amherst, Massachusetts, the location of the very famous Amherst Feldenkrais training, given by, of course, Moshe Feldenkrais. Today, I'm going to interview Donna Blank, who is a graduate of Amherst, and I have a few questions for her.
So, hi Donna.
Hi, Krish.
Hi. So thank you very much for taking a little bit of time out of this training that we're doing here in Potomac, Maryland, to talk a little bit about your experiences at Amherst. And my first question for you is, why did you do that training? Whatever made you decide, I'm going to do this training? Tell me more.
Well, it was one of those do not pass go, do not collect $100 experiences. I was already a dancer and a mover, a Waban movement analyst. I had already begun and designed the curriculum for the first master's degree in movement at Wesleyan when I was exposed to Moshe's work in a workshop, in 2 different workshops within a month. And I said, what is going on? This is different from anything I've ever done in my life.
Wow.
And I actually just turned and went.
Amazing. That is really amazing. So at that time, may I ask about how old you were then? Were you in your 20s, your 30s?
I think I was 38,
30s?
something
Okay.
like that.
All
I was
right.
a mom of a 4. I think my older daughter was 4 when I began the training.
My gosh, that's amazing. So generally, over that course of time, during the training, how do you think it affected you on many different levels? Let's just start on the physical level, just the simple physical effects that it had on you and being in that very famous training.
Well, on the physical level, I think it was a little confusing to me at first, and it was not the main reason I went. I want to say, I was drawn by this incredible sense of change of self-image and change of what was possible in me and in my life and in what life was about, because I'd moved my whole life. So in terms of the movement and the physical part, what happened was it took me a little while to understand that doing big fancy movements was not what this was about, because I could do all of them. I go, well, what's the big deal here? Only as I got a little older did I realize what the big deal was about the ingenious way that these lessons are constructed to affect your habits. And I didn't really understand about habits being, kind of a younger, full of it dancer who could do a lot of things. So
I see, yeah.
It took me a while to understand what habits were interfering. And of course, as I've gotten older, the whole use of the work personally has changed immensely, and I have a different relationship to it probably every decade. For myself personally.
Sure. And so, do you feel that the emotional changes were pretty big that you went through during that time?
Oh yes, absolutely. It really turned my world.
Wow.
Should I say upside down? It really did. It really did. I began to question everything that I had assumed was the way to live. And of course it was also at a time when that was happening in the culture.
Sure.
And I must say that Amherst, the culture at the Amherst training had that flavor, because it was a time in our country where that was very much alive, the questioning of everything.
Sure.
And this was a way of embodying very personal, non-verbal explorations, so that they were quite real. They weren't just ideas; they were deep experiences that definitely affected me emotionally and relationally, and with everybody I related to.
And you still know quite a few people, and obviously are in touch with some of the people from that training.
Oh yes.
You see them, and how many of them actually have gone on to be trainers and Feldenkrais teachers and so many different spheres. But now, how do you feel that what you learned then informs your work now? And I'm talking specifically about Amherst as opposed to any other, trainings that you're aware of and you're obviously very familiar with. But what can you say about that?
It's such a great question. It's such a great question because on one level, it's the principles of the work. The principle of self-exploration, the principle of being present to your actual experience embodied in gravity, in the environment, listening to how you respond to any question and having the freedom to explore that and find out for oneself what works and what's real at that moment in terms of one's own perception. That's true of all Feldenkrais work. I would say when I worked with Moshe in Amherst, that was so poignantly alive in a way. There was a way that he taught that, you know, I'm sure all of us who were there would have something a little different to say, but he gave us so much time, so much undirected time to explore. He would ask a question and he would talk on and on, sometimes for 10 or 15 minutes, and it looked like he'd changed the subject, but really he hadn't. It was giving us all of this time.
Wow.
In this very safe environment to find out for ourselves and to take rests, to find out our own pacing, to allow time to integrate, to start to explore again. So there was this incredible freedom, and I think deep trust of our own ability to self-regulate our exploration and learning. And he had a very particular way of doing that I don't think any of us have duplicated.
Wow, that's fantastic. And so we're going to be going back there this summer. You're going to be teaching one of the famous morning ATMs in the gym.
What an amazing...
Where you guys were before sweating. Only this time we'll have air conditioning.
Yes.
And you're also, I hope, going to be on the keynote panel where we're going to be talking about, with other, of course, Amherst graduates and people who were in Amherst, talking a little bit about how some of the work is filtered, some of the memories that you have, anecdotes. So we're really looking forward to having you there, Donna. And thank you so much for sharing your time here today, and see you in Amherst.
It's a pleasure. It's really starting to warm up my memories, and really appreciate this whole span of time and what he began and where we are now.
Great. Thanks, Donna.